to a large extent, this recording is going to be a bit about defining terms, but I want to do a bit more than that because I want you to get a real feeling for a range of concepts. So with that in mind, let me introduce to you the first big old bit of text. There we go. What a lot of words. And what have we got here? We've got a definition of health. All right, so let's get straight into this. Health is a state of complete emotional or psychological, physical and social well-being. So what we're saying with health, guys, is it's more than what you look like. It's more than just what you think. It's more than the company you keep and how satisfied you are with the relationships around you. It is all of those things. And I want to add something to this as well. Being healthy includes the combination of these points, but it's also not just about them not being bad. It is about wellness, feeling good, happiness. That is a fair and reasonable assumption that should be part of health. Now, I do want to draw your attention to the emotional and psychological a little bit because I think it's something that, as I record this in 2020, and I am recording this specifically right at the end of the March to June sort of quarantine COVID lockdown, I think it's something that we're acutely aware of, and I think it's something that we're rightly acutely aware of. And I just want to sort of draw attention to the importance of that. I noticed that what the exam board seems to be doing here is putting that one first, which is kind of important. We tend to think about physicality as PE teachers, as PE students, as sports scientists. So therefore, we've got this combination. Secondly, guys, I want to draw your attention to the idea of fitness, okay? So what is fitness? Let's have a look at this. Fitness is the ability to meet or cope with the demands of the environment. So guys, this is relative, okay? So what is fit for somebody could well be different to somebody else because the demands of the environment are different. You know, a professional sports athlete has a much higher fitness requirement than, let's say, a maturing or elderly person who needs to walk to the shop once a week to get some provisions. You know, that's a different level of fitness, but they can both be fit. That's the point we're trying to make. But we should also think, though, that fitness is dynamic, okay? So it's relevant and it's dynamic. And the point I want to make about it being dynamic is that because fitness is dynamic, I mean, physiologically you can change. If you do more exercise and you train, we know this adaptation process takes place, okay? So we've got this sort of dynamic nature of fitness, and it will also de-adapt that reversibility concept. If we are not active and we are not participating, our fitness levels will fall. So let's keep this going. I now want to look at the concept of exercise, and you probably think to me, come on, James, exercise, get a grip. We know what that means. Okay, fair enough, but I want to draw attention to the concept of physical effort. Now, I want to remind you that exercise recommendations are like this for people. For children, the recommendation is 7 times 60 minutes of activity, therefore physical effort per week, okay? Now, you might want to do sort of a very sort of fundamental analysis of those individuals that are around you, all the people that you know and have met, and wonder how frequent that is. That would be an interesting thing to reflect on. And for adults, the idea is a minimum of 5 lots of 30-minute sessions per week. And again, you might want to just begin to consider whether that happens for a majority of people in your environment. But exercise about physical effort, okay? So it doesn't have to be sport. It doesn't have to be playing a game of football or baseball or cricket or anything, or going to a gym. It can simply be washing a car. It can be walking to the shop. It can be cycling to work instead of driving. These are exercise examples and physical effort. We all know about that sort of notion of 10,000 steps a day, right? This is exercise. Now, finally, guys, before we finish off, we're going to talk about the notion of performance here. Now, when I read this definition, I must admit, I thought to myself, the person that decided this first part was a definition was just trying to get to the end of their day, because they've said it is the action or process of doing something. Thanks. That's really helpful. So I almost want to kind of say like that bit is not particularly helpful. Okay, but the bit that is helpful is how well you do something. So, of course, there are examples of exercise where the focus is on the quality of the movement or of the performance or of the competition. We could define that to a degree of moving exercise and activity towards sport, for example. But just notice that we're talking about, when we talk about performance and performance indicators, it's about how well we do something. You can have fitness and you can exercise with very low quality in the movement itself, very, very low levels in competitive, very low nowhere near a technical model. We can do do that. But when we come to consider performance, we're talking about the quality of how well something's done. So those 4 definitions are going to be important to you. You must learn them. I also like you to have those sensitivities of the things I pointed out to you. But if you understand those concepts, they will stand you in really good stead.